Welcome to the Gym and Tonic Podcast. I'm your host, Shanae Kunsa from SK Bodyworks. This is a podcast where I share valuable education, insight, and strategies around all things health, fitness, nutrition, weight loss, and mindset, mixed in with some laughs, a whole lot of balance, and a few ums along the way. If you're ready to make your weight loss and fitness goals a reality, you've come to the right place, because through these episodes, I'm going to help you live a healthy but balanced life, lose the weight, and become the best version of you possible. Let's go, girlfriend. Before we dive into today's episode, I quickly wanted to let you know of the free Move for Mental Health event that I've organized, collaborating with Are You OK, Oz Active, and Susan Templeman. This event is on Saturday, the 21st of September at 10 a.m. at Windsor High School. I have the registration link below with all of the details, but essentially the event is to help raise awareness around the critical connection between both exercise and mental health. It is also to raise funds for Are You OK to aid in suicide prevention within our local community and across Australia. This event is for anyone who is wanting to improve their physical health and their mental health, and it is for all ages, genders, and fitness levels. So come along for a free workout and listen to some great speakers. I hope to see you there. Welcome back to the Gym and Tonic podcast. I am so excited for today's episode because I have a very special guest who I have wanted to have on the podcast for quite some time now, and even before I actually launched the podcast. So today's guest is going to be Mariella De Angelis, and Mariella is a health and life coach. She is a burnout expert, and she's also currently doing her master's in clinical nutrition. So welcome to the Gym and let me say that again. The Gym and Tonic podcast, Mariella. I'm so happy that you are here, and we have literally been only talking about doing this for months.
Hi, I know. No, I'm so happy to be here. So excited. We literally have been talking about doing this for months. I can scroll back. I have the receipts.
What was that? Sorry.
From the DM. I have the receipts and the DMs.
Literally, like we have been talking about it for months.
This has been in the works.
But we're here now. And I'm grateful that you have jumped on the podcast, because I feel like what we're going to talk about is such a well-needed and powerful message that I feel like a lot of women need to, I guess, have some raised awareness around. And even just like to give like you guys some context, most of you would know that I actually suffered extreme burnout at the end of last year. And I actually worked with Mariella for around 6 months whilst recovering from burnout. So, I actually don't think I probably would have been able to get through that time without you in my life. So I am forever grateful for that. So anyways, today we're going to chat about Mariella. We're going to talk about, I guess, her story and what led her to where she is today, including her personal experience with burnout. We're also going to, I guess, just briefly touch on my experience with burnout, and just chat about the lessons that we learned through going through burnout, and also, I guess, just dive into it in general, what burnout is, how to notice the signs, how to recover from it, how to prevent it, and I guess everything else in between. And we will really just see where the conversation takes us. So, Mariella, did you want to tell us, I guess, firstly, just a little bit about you, who you are, and I guess the work that you do with your clients?
Oh, yeah. Also, you're so good at this. I love it.
Practice.
Yeah, so I'm Mariella. I have been in the wellness industry for about nearly 8 years now, and I've been coaching for 4. I have my national board. I'm in America, first of all, which is nuts. How crazy is it that we can talk while I'm in Arizona?
I know. And how many times did we fuck the time difference up when we were doing our coaching calls?
No, dude, it's so bad. We had it down.
We did.
And then your time zone changed and I didn't know.
Yeah.
And then it was a disaster. But anyway, we figured it out. We triple checked today. So we had it all good. But I've been coaching you for 4 years. I have my board certification here in America. I'm getting my master's in clinical nutrition, like you mentioned, and I'm a burnout and stress expert. So, it's funny because with you and your experience, this as well, our stress starts to climb far before you start to feel the effects of it, right? So for me, I grew up doing theater from the age of 8 to literally 22 years old when I graduated with a BA in musical theater, walked out of the Lincoln Center after receiving my diploma, and I looked at my mom and I said, I don't think I want to do this anymore.
After all those years?
Yeah, but like up until then, you know, people might not think about it, but theater is like a very stressful thing. You know, it's a lot of stress on the body. It's sort of like being an athlete to a lesser degree, but still like your whole body, your entire, like your voice, your body, your muscles, your mind, like everything is like your craft, your tool. There's a lot of rejection. There's a lot of, am I enough? Am I good enough? There's a lot of this and that. And I did that my whole life. And within that too, you know, there was a lot of stress around, I was living in New York City, so stress around money and being able to pay to live in a city that is ridiculously expensive. But where everywhere is expensive now, so I feel like it doesn't even matter.
I know, right?
When I was 23 years old, right after quarantine, so of COVID. So I was quarantined at home in Arizona for like 5 or 6 months, and then I went back to New York City, and I was there for a year. And within that year, my whole life just started to like burn to the ground, for like lack of better terms. And I want to say too, like my burnout, I think when people think of burnout, they think of work and they think of jobs. Mine was job related, but work was not the root cause of mine. Mine was much more the mental, emotional, and that adding to what was going on around me, root cause. So I'll try and make this super fast, but essentially, my stress was just extremely high. I was working 3 jobs. I was getting my 2nd coaching certification. I was, again, living in the city. I was not getting any sleep because the 2 jobs I had were very physical. And then the 3rd job I had was coaching. I was a server, so I was on my feet for really long hours. And then I worked all the odd jobs, you know. I worked as someone who like went into people's like rich people homes and organized all their shit.
Oh my God.
And that was taxing. Like we would move people in and out of their homes, and it was exhausting, and I hated it, and I can't believe I ever did it. But I had a lot going on in terms of like relationships. I was going through a breakup that was really tough. The city was at that moment in time very touch and go when it came to COVID. It was like, are we shutting down? Are we not shutting down?
Yeah.
What is happening? Are we going back and forth? And then I got a kidney infection. And since my stress was so high, it kind of just like destroyed my entire immune system. And the antibiotics I had to take like went right through my digestive system. And I started getting really sick. And I just could not get better. And then the stress of being sick added to the stress that I already had. Long story short, my roommate moved out of our apartment, and I was considering moving home, and I had my very first panic attack I ever had in my whole life, 24 years old. And I was like, I think I need to come home, even though I really didn't want to. I left New York kicking and screaming. And I moved home, and after a month I collapsed. And it's very important that I tell everyone that the way I coped with my emotions was by exercising. I will say it loud and proud. I was an over-exercising anorexic through and through.
So good that you can own that though and reflect on that and be like,
I was surviving off like 1,400 calories a day and doing high intensity exercise for 3 or 4 hours a day. Like literally 3 or 4 hours a day.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And then all the steps, because I lived in the city. I would walk everywhere on purpose. I would not take cars. I would be like, if I didn't reach like 15 or 20,000 steps, I felt like I was a failure.
And that's a lot.
Yeah, all my worth was tied up in my body. All my worth was tied up in my career and who I wanted to be and who I thought everyone wanted me to be.
Yeah.
And when I came home, I was super sad. I was super depressed that I left New York. And I was exercising again far too much. And one day my body just said, we're done. And I collapsed at the gym, and I woke up in the ER. And like my body was not the same. I call it the day I died. It was October 4th.
Oh my God, you remember the date?
21.
Wow.
I called it the day that I died. Because after that day was not able to be the same person. So that's essentially how my burnout happened. And then once I was far enough removed from the situation, there were a lot of other things that happened. Like I had heavy metal poisoning that no one knew about because no one cared to check. And a few other things too that were contributing to poor detoxification, inflammation, stress on the body, in addition to all the perceived stress I was also experiencing. But that is my burnout story. And so then I was laying in my bed, couldn't move, couldn't walk, allergic to everything. And I was like, fuck this, I can't do this. And then I got off my pity party bus and I fixed myself. And now I help other people fix themselves.
I love that.
I shouldn't say fix. I don't know. I just think the word heal has been beaten to death. So I almost prefer the word fix. We're not broken, but we could all use a tune-up, if you know what I mean.
100%. That's a good way to put it. A tune-up.
Yeah.
100%. And
that's essentially my story, yeah.
That is like crazy. And like in terms of your like recovery from burnout and I guess how you said from, you know, after the day you died, quote unquote, the day you died and like you were never sort of like the same person again. Like how was that recovery from there? Like, I guess talk us through that a little bit. Like what was that like? Like I can imagine it was.
Okay, first of all, Shanae knows that I make metaphors out of everything. So here we go. I almost like to think of burnout as sort of like the stages of grief, because there's a lot of grief that you will experience when you realize that you cannot go back to what you were doing before. There's a really big sense of loss. And so for me in the beginning, it was a huge loss of my identity because I couldn't exercise anymore. I physically could not. I was diagnosed with like mitochondrial dysfunction and all that other crap.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so like I couldn't even go on a walk. And it was unbelievable to have to face that. I'm gonna say like demonic part of myself that would get furious if I didn't move my body, if I didn't do this, if I didn't do that. And it was having to face all of those things. Yeah. So I tell everybody the physical part is easy. As long as you can get yourself to rest, the physical part is easy. It's diet, it's your circadian rhythm, I already said diet, nutrition, supplements, detoxification, all the things like that is the easy part. The hard part is like, why was I that way? Why am I this way? And what needs to change so I don't do that again? What do I need to change about myself? What boundaries do I need to set? What habits do I need to get rid of? What habits do I need to create to get myself out of this rock bottom? And so for me, that was a lot of overcoming my burnout personalities. Yeah. Which were perfectionism, hyper-independence, overachieving, and being a fixer. And I learned in therapy recently that I'm a justice seeker, which made my whole life make sense. So I'm going to throw that out there.
What's a justice seeker? Like, explain that a little bit more, because I get it, but I don't get it.
So, and I know you get this too, because I know a little bit more about Shanae than I should, but
yes.
We are both the kind of people that when we say we're going to do something, we do it, right?
Got you.
So when people hurt us or don't show up, we feel the need to hold them accountable. Yeah. And it's we have to seek justice for ourselves. Like, you did this, you're wrong, you're the one to blame, and I need justice.
Yeah, got you.
But like when we do that, we just spend so much time pointing the finger and being angry.
Yeah,
for
that is actually getting nowhere.
Because we're not the keeper of the karma.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
We are not the judge. We are not the lawyer. We are not the attorney. And we can't change other people. We can only change ourselves.
That's very true.
But I recently learned that, and I was like, oh my God, my whole life makes sense.
It all makes sense. The pieces of the puzzle are coming together. And like just how you said, like the hard part wasn't like the nutrition, the sleep, your circadian rhythm, and all those sorts of things. It was setting the boundaries and, you know, probably like recognizing and overcoming limiting beliefs and like what is actually, I guess, holding you back from changing, so you know that it doesn't happen again. And like obviously I've been there before as well. Like when that happened, like that period of my life, it's like, you know, after that happens you cannot go back, because like it's like mentally, physically, emotionally, like it's exhausting. And even like you had saying about, you know, the exercise and not even being able to walk, it's like almost like you had a whole new identity, like you were learning who you were again.
Yeah, no, it sucked. It was terrible. Like, I don't like to like sugarcoat things. I don't like to say that, oh my God, a healing journey is the best thing that will ever happen to you. No, they fucking suck. Like, to be honest, when you come out the other end, or when you start to see the momentum and you really start to feel the incremental process, you're like, oh, okay, it's worth it. I get it. I'm starting to like where I'm going. But before then, it's hell. And I will say, like, I understand for some people the physical stuff might be really difficult. I was already in the wellness world, you know, so that was easy for me. It was a lot of what I was already doing, but just like being more intentional about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the mind stuff is really difficult. And I know that like nervous system regulation and subconscious reprogramming, like they're probably, I would say, the most talked about and searched things on the Instagram, if you're, I guess, on my side of the algorithm. Or just on the wellness algorithm. But they are the most, I mean, I guess now they're probably appropriately hyped, but they're not overhyped by any means. They are the, I guess, foundation of everything. And I can explain the science behind that if you want. I don't know.
Yeah, go into it while we're talking about it 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So when it comes to like the entire function of your body functions through the production of hormones and the production of energy and how everything works together, okay? And what people don't understand is, like, you hear the term adrenal fatigue, but the term adrenal fatigue isn't real. I say it because it makes sense. So you can call me a hypocrite if you want, but it doesn't exist. Because your adrenals don't give out. They don't fatigue. That would be like going into cardiac arrest, right? Your adrenals can have a disease called Addison disease or Cushing's disease, and that's when you're either overproducing or underproducing, not based on stress. It's a literal just disease of that organ. Yeah. But adrenal fatigue, quote unquote, is when your body can't do its job efficiently the way it's supposed to. And that goes with any other part of the body, like your thyroid. When your thyroid is downregulated, your metabolic system is not going to be functioning as well as it should. You're not going to have as much energy. When your adrenals aren't working like they should, you're not going to be able to handle stress the way that you should. So there's nothing essentially broken. It's just everything is down regulated. It's like someone took the knob of your like humanity, or like what is it, your life force energy, and like turned it down 17 notches. Yeah. Right? And so when you think about the nervous system aspect and the belief aspect, we have our limbic system, which includes our amygdala, which is literally the shape of an almond. And it's almost like, I'll try and explain this in like simple terms, otherwise I'll confuse myself, talking myself in circles. But it's the size of an almond, and it's essentially where like we hold all of our fear, which is, I think, so poetic. Like, our fear gets so big, and it literally comes from the part of our brain that's the size of a freaking nut. Yeah, literally, it's nuts. It is. It's nuts. It's nuts, and it's the size of a nut, a single nut. But our amygdala, when we have a feeling, whether it's positive or negative, it creates an emotional reaction, which stimulates our HPA axis, which is our hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, okay? Our hypothalamus will secrete, oh my God, what's it called? Adrenal release hormone, okay? And that'll tell the pituitary gland to release adrenal stimulating hormone. And that will tell the adrenals whether or not to produce adrenaline from the adrenal medulla or cortisol from the adrenal cortex. Mm-hmm. So if you are like, you know when you're driving and you almost like get in a car wreck?
Say that again. When you're like, oh yes, yeah. Yeah,
that is your adrenal medulla. That is it releasing adrenaline. Because do you realize, do you know like how quick you like come out of that? It's like, it takes like 1 or 2 minutes and you're like, oh, I'm safe. I didn't die. We're good. We can keep going. Maybe I'll keep my eyes on the road a little bit better. Right. But when it's perceived stress, like job stress, family stress, self-worth stress. I'm not enough. I suck. I'm not successful. I'm not making enough money. You're going to tell the adrenal cortex through the HPA axis to make cortisol. And after a significant amount of time, your body can't make enough cortisol anymore because you're burning through all your nutrients, you're burning through all your vitamins, you're down regulating your hormones, you're down regulating your digestive system. Everything is connected. And
100%.
So it's funny that people will take all these adrenal supplements, right? But if they stop taking them, they get sick again. And it's because they're not fixing
the root,
the very top of the chart in the hypothalamus, where they're telling the adrenal to make a hormone.
Yeah.
So if you don't change your mind, you're going to send the same signals to the adrenals over and over and over and over and over. The same signals. And the same thing happens with your thyroid. So your hypothalamus tells your pituitary to make thyroid release hormone. Your pituitary makes TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone, and then that breaks down to T4 and T3. And if your T4 doesn't convert into T3 because of stress or nutrient deficiencies or a bunch of other shit like toxicity and gut dysbiosis and whatnot, then your thyroid's not going to work. And your thyroid and your adrenal are so interconnected. And if those things don't work, your mitochondria aren't going to work. You're not going to make enough energy. And your immune system is going to go down, which makes you more susceptible to holding on to pathogens and toxins, which is going to make you sick and make you chronically ill and create a body. So it's like back to like the thought process in the nervous system. It all runs down our vagus nerve. It all runs down our central nervous system. So at the end of the day, the physical part, again, it's easy, but it doesn't mean anything unless you take care of the mind and the nervous system. I saw once on the internet, there's this guy who like heals chronic illness, quote unquote. But he made a very good point when he said, doing all of the stuff, like the physical stuff without addressing the root causes is like spraying perfume on a piece of shit.
That is such a good way to put it, is it not?
It is.
Because it's not fixing the problem.
So for all the people out there who think they're doing everything right, and I was one of those people. I was like, I'm doing everything right. Why am I not okay? I was the quote unquote healthiest person in the room before I nearly died. Because I did everything quote unquote right. But my mind and my nervous system were a fucking mess. So for everyone out there listening, I hope that maybe strikes a chord and helps you understand your own body a little bit more.
100%. And like the saying goes, it's like you are what you eat. It's like you also are what you tell yourself. And like you said, that's like, I guess, chain of different reactions. That one thing triggers us off something else, and then triggers off something else and sends a signal to another part of our body to release, hormones and cortisol and all the things. It's like, I just completely lost my train of thought then.
You're fine. You're on.
It completely just went out of my brain. I still can't even think of what it was. Sorry, you are what you tell yourself. It's like if you're doing the same thing, you're going to keep triggering the same chemical reactions in your body that are not going to change anything. You're just going to get the same outcome again and again. And obviously, like for a prolonged period of time, like stress and perceived stress and all that sort of stuff is like it's unhealthy. Like there's like I like to say there's good stress in the form of getting outside your comfort zone, doing things that you haven't done before, and like it's healthy stress. But your bad stress is like when you are in it for too long. It's ongoing. It's mentally exhausting, physically exhausting, and like obviously that has a lot of negative impacts on every area of your life, as we have both experienced. Last year was different. Like it was a result of, I guess, my hardworking attitude, my being ambitious, dedication, perfectionism traits, and I guess really as a result of not prioritizing myself and putting everyone and everything before me, including friends, including work, including everything under the sun. And I guess even when I say like I was not prioritizing myself, probably like the only thing that I was doing as a form of like for me was exercise, but like outside of that, like as you know, that's something that stimulates your sympathetic nervous system, like your fight or flight nervous system, which, you know, combined with like high levels of stress and all the rest of, all the rest of things we've spoken about is not a good recipe. But yeah, like I was literally on the go nonstop, and I just felt like there was no end in sight to the busyness and constantly being switched on. Like I was craving like rest, like my body was screaming at me to rest, and I was not listening to it. I just kept going and going, just like I always did. And, I was stressed. I had way too much on my plate. And like, I guess like that was, yes, in terms of work, and overworking. Like I was working like 16 plus hour days. I was exercising in the gym like 4 times a week. I was like, my weekends were full of like social events. So it's like, I didn't even get a chance to wind down on the weekends. It was like nonstop, and I wasn't getting enough sleep, and I would get into bed and I would be like tired, but wired, and I couldn't sleep because I still had like a million things running through my mind. And I guess I was just saying yes to everything and everyone except for me, and just wearing so many hats in, you know, both like in business and, you know, in life, and trying to be there for everyone else, like my friends, my family, and that I wasn't there for myself, and I forgot about me in the process. And I guess for an extent, doing all of that for an extended period of time, like I got to a point where I was physically, emotionally, and mentally like exhausted. And like, to be completely transparent, like it was probably the hardest time of my life, and I felt like no one aside from you really understood like what I was going through, and I guess where I was. And it was difficult, but I feel like, even like I was going to say this to you before, like I feel like everything happens for a reason. Like obviously your reason being like you had to go through that and experience that to be able to help others like me recover from it and come out the other end of it. And I feel like for me as well, like it had happened for a reason, because I knew if nothing changed, like nothing was going to change. Like I had burnt myself out many times prior to that, but that was like next level. And like I distinctly remember the week, and I think this is actually when I reached out to you. Like I distinctly remember that week. I was literally like, what the fuck am I doing to myself? I had no energy. I like physically could not get out of bed in the mornings. I was like trying to work. I was falling asleep at my desk. I did not even have the energy to like walk to another room. Like I literally think I was on the verge of collapsing. And if I went like one step further, I think I probably would have. But it was a huge wake-up call, and I feel like it had to happen for a reason, because I knew if nothing changed, nothing would change. And that's also a reason I had reached out to you, and obviously then we started to work together, because I guess in that term, like I practice what I preach, because I truly believe that, you know, having a coach in your corner is the shortcut to success. And I had tried before that, changing like, you know, my habits and traits, and you know, setting boundaries with work, setting boundaries with other things. And I had some progress, but I never got the progress that I desired to see. And I couldn't do it my own. So forever grateful for you for that.
Oh my God, you're so sweet. But no, I think your story is very much, I mean, it's extremely similar to mine. It's extremely similar to every single other one of my clients. We all just present with different signs and symptoms, you know, because of how it manifests in our own body. Like you were saying, like my body was like screaming for rest. Like our bodies are so smart. And the sad thing is that no one, like healthy people especially, they don't really pay attention to them because they've never needed to, you know? So a lot of these signs and symptoms that we have, we don't think about because they might be affecting us, but they're not stopping us. And all of a sudden we don't pay attention until they are stopping us, sort of like you. And like, obviously, like I fucking ended up in the ER. So
yes, 100%. You collapsed at the gym.
Stopping me. Even though I knew I wasn't okay. I was texting my doctors all the time being like, what the fuck is wrong with me? Like, can't anybody figure this out? But I still kept going. I still drank coffee like a fucking maniac. I still drank tequila and cried about my ex-boyfriend. I still went to the gym and did 2 hours of like, oh my God, what is it? Like HIIT, CrossFit shit when my doctors were like, stay away from the strenuous exercise. But I was like, fuck you, Pilates is boring. I refuse. Like, I was stubborn. I was stubborn. And I said, no, this is the way that I like my life. No, this is the way I want to be. I want to be angry at everybody and I want to control everything. And look at where it got me. Nowhere. Nowhere, honey. And I think that's the biggest message is like, start listening to your body. That is one of like the first thing any good, I'm not like a nervous system coach, but I know a lot about it. But the first thing a good nervous system coach will teach you is how to sit with your body for 2 fucking seconds, 2 minutes, but you need more than 2 seconds, and just say, what's going on in here? What's going on? What are my emotions? What are my physical sensations? Am I thirsty? Am I hungry? What is it that my body needs from me? What is it that it wants to do? Can you just sit with yourself for 2 minutes and just ask? And be like, I think we're supposed to be a team here.
100%.
People don't do that.
It sounds so
and then
simple.
All of this stuff gets so big, like everything you were saying. The social, the work, the money, the people, the expectations and the pressure, family shit, our beliefs, our own self-sabotage. We let that all get so big without realizing that it's part of the issue.
Yeah.
It's not just, oh, my tummy hurts. Oh, I'm losing hair. Oh, I have acne now. It's not just that, girl. It's everything else that you think too. So yeah.
100%. And like you said, like sit with yourself for like, and your body for like 2 minutes and just ask like, what do I need? Like it sounds so simple, but like, I mean, I was not doing it at all. Like I was so disconnected from myself and from my body. And like, obviously I was not listening to my body until I was forced to listen because I physically couldn't get up and walk to another room. Like it's, at that point it was a really fucking loud screaming and I had no choice but to listen. But like, it's so true. It sounds so simple, but yet like no one does it. And, you know, I guess it's easy to get caught up in like, you know, the busy seasons of life and the chaos and, you know, all the things. And I guess a common thing that I guess really happens is like people are like, I'll prioritize myself when X happens, when I have more time, when I get the job, and that's right. Like you take you with you. So even when you get to having more time, having that new job, having whatever it is, you still take you with you. And if you don't change, you know, your habits, your behaviors, how you perceive things and, you know, all of the above, you're not going to change. You're going to be the same, like the exact same when you get to that situation and nothing will change. So yeah, it's like the simple things. And even like, we can talk into that a little bit as well, shortly, but like even when I was working with you through burnout, it was like starting with the smallest of things, like taking breaks. Like I was working like a 16 plus hour day, like with like eating my lunch break. Like that was the only break that I had. And even still while I was like eating my lunch, like I was still working on my phone, replying to clients and messages and this and that. And like we started off taking breaks and it was like, just like get outside for 10 minutes, like after your lunch break, between like the time that you finish your lunch break and the time you finish, like get outside just for 10 minutes and just ground yourself. And like, it made such a huge difference. And it's like the smallest of things that we, like you said, we say that we do everything or we try everything, but it's like, we really don't.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think productivity, again, like you're saying, is like a huge part of that. And starting with the simple things, like when I tell people my work schedule, they look at me like I'm the stupid one. Because here's the thing, unless I have like a lot of energy that day and I simply don't feel the need to, I take a break every hour for like 20 or 30 minutes. So, and then I do yoga nidra every single day. It's literally, I swear by yoga nidra. And I do it for like 50 minutes before I eat lunch, and then I eat lunch for like an hour. I'm like on that. So like I take a 2-hour break in the middle of the day and I stop at 5 p.m. So I work every day for probably only about 4 to 5 hours because of how much time I take off. And again, I'm an entrepreneur. I live by my own rules. Like I do whatever I want. So it's easier for me to say that.
Yeah. But
people who are also entrepreneurs look at me and they're like, how the fuck do you get anything done? And I'm like, oh, I get a lot done, just slower than you do. Because what is the rush? Because if like me going nuts so cuckoo crazy over something that I'm creating that doesn't even exist in the fucking universe yet, literally is not worth me feeling like a psycho. or me being exhausted, or me being, my favorite movie is The Devil Wears Prada. And there's this famous line where she goes, she's not happy unless everyone around her is panicked and nauseous and suicidal. Like, it's not worth me to be panicked and nauseous and suicidal over something so trivial as like a fucking membership that I'm gonna launch. Like, if it takes an extra week, it takes an extra week, and that's it.
100%.
But like, even being able to have that relationship with productivity took a long time. Because as overachievers, you're like, I want to do it, and I want to do it now, and I have this vision in my head of exactly how it's going to go, and everyone's going to sign up, and it's going to be a huge success, and I'm going to be an overnight sensation. Girl, slow down. Slow down.
Yeah, 100%.
Take a break.
It's like...
Take a break. And you have to take real breaks.
Yeah.
You know this.
Yes.
Your break
I
is
do.
not looking at your phone.
Yeah. I learned that the hard way. But like the smallest of change makes all the the biggest of difference. And like, just going back to what you're saying about the expectations, and it's like the expectations that we put on ourselves. It's like not anyone else putting pressure on ourselves. It's like the ones, like the pressure that we put on ourselves, which then, I guess has an impact and dictates how we respond and how we work. And, if we're rushing things, it's not going to be as productive, and you're not going to get as much work done. And I remember when I was like I was approaching where I hit burnout extreme. I was trying so hard to work and do work, and I could not be productive. I would sit there and my mind was just brain fog times 5,000. I couldn't get any work done because I wasn't prioritizing myself and looking after myself. And it's like the saying that goes if you don't if you don't fill your cup up and do the things that bring you joy and happiness and, prioritize you, if you've got nothing in your cup, you physically cannot fill anyone else's cup up. And it is so true.
You cannot.
100%. So yeah, I guess let's talk a little bit about I feel like you sort of briefly already did, but in terms of the word burnout, what what is burnout? If you were to in a nutshell summarize that in a sentence or however long, what would you say?
Yeah. Okay. So if you Google Google will tell you, a burnout is mental, physical exhaustion due to overwork. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
To a degree, this is correct. I want to take the term overwork and make it broad, right? Overwork does not just mean your job. It means overwork of your organs and your systems, and overwork of your mind, your relationships, your social, anything that is overdone, anything that has been pushed past your allostatic load, right? Is essentially when you're going to start burnout. So your allostatic load is the amount of stress that your body can handle. Everybody has a different one.
Yeah.
Think of it like a suitcase, okay? Some people, not me, can travel with a carry-on. They can go on a 2-week trip and take nothing but a freaking carry-on. No,
not me.
I need 2 suitcases. I need 2 suitcases. I need 2. I need 2 full, big size, and I'm going to overpack them. But everybody has a different size suitcase, right? And for the people who need a bigger suitcase, they need more capacity for stress, opposed to the people who need a carry-on, who are I'm good. I handle stress really well. Your allostatic load is when you take your suitcase to the airport and you're not supposed to pack it above that weight limit. Otherwise you get charged or fined, right? So here in America, if it's above 50 pounds, you get a $100 fine. You can only take your suitcase on the plane if it's paid for and costs $100 extra, or you have to unzip it in front of everyone and take shit out, and it's embarrassing. So your allostatic load is like a suitcase. I've said this a million times, but just because you can overpack a suitcase, everyone can. You can take that 50-pound limit and turn it to 80. You can sit on that suitcase and put all your weight on it and zip it shut, after sweating buckets of just trying to do so. But it does not mean you should.
Yeah.
There's a reason why suitcases have a weight limit, because you're flying through the sky in a piece of metal that can only weigh so much.
That's so very true. And a good way to put it.
Yeah. So your allostatic load, everybody has their own, and it's shaped by a few things. The way you grew up, how well your body detoxifies, and essentially your metabolic function, right? So if you grew up in a very stressful childhood, your allostatic load is going to be a lot smaller because you grew up in stress while you were developing. But if you grew up in a perfectly happy childhood, lucky you. I don't know if any of those people exist, but they might. Your allostatic load might not get full until maybe you have your heart broken for the first time, or you go to college and there's lots of stress with deadlines and papers and who am I? What do I want to do with my life? Or when you get out of college and you're like, oh, fuck, being an adult is hard. Like, it all depends. So burnout is when your allostatic load goes, it gets tapped. I can't do this anymore. The glass is totally full. The suitcase is bursting at the seams. But burnout also has 5 stages. So burnout doesn't actually happen until stage 4. And then chronic or habitual burnout is stage 5. So there's the honeymoon phase. And I think this is honestly probably one of the most important things I'll say. So I want everybody to, like, if you're taking notes, like, this is important. The honeymoon phase is when something is new. Okay. So like you're either a coach or an entrepreneur and you're starting a new project or you're starting a new business. Oh my God, so shiny, so exciting. Nothing sucks yet, right? There's no nails in the path yet. Or you get a new job and it's like your dream job and you're so excited and you say yes to everything because you want everybody to like you and you want to insert yourself as a person who is like ambitious and says, I can do this. Like if you need something, you come to me because you know what I want in a year? I want to get promoted. You know what I want? I want this program that I'm putting together to pop off. I want this business to pop off. I want everyone to refer me to everybody, right? So there's that honeymoon phase of I'm exhausted, but it's a good tired.
Yeah.
I love what I'm doing, even though it's a lot. I'm happy. And it's true, you are happy. But you want to know what's fueling that is the endorphins that you're getting from that initial stress, which has a lot to do with your neurotransmitters. And then stage 2 is the onset of stress, is when that it's a good tired starts to not be a good tired. And you start chipping away slowly at the things that are important, your needs, your priorities, did I shower today? Am I eating healthy? Am I eating enough? Am I eating at all? Am I overeating? Am I moving my body with love? Or am I just like throwing myself in the gym and forcing myself to do shit? Am I being nice to myself? When's the last time I saw my friends? When was the last time I cleaned my house? Right? And you start to notice that all you can think about is work or your job or whatever your situation of burnout is. So like I've worked with a couple moms lately. If all you can think about is your family and your kids and all the household chores, that's like a homemaker, that's your burnout. And then we have stage 3, which is chronic stress. So it's when that onset of stress turns chronic. You can't get rid of it. And this is when a lot of those physical symptoms start to show up. The headaches, the fatigue, the digestive issues, the acne, the hair loss, those are physical. The emotional symptoms that start to pop up, a lot of anxiety, a lot of depression, irritability, mood swings, hormone imbalances, irregular periods, especially in women. I could literally give you a laundry list of cynicism, self-doubt, insecurity. But I can't even
There's so many.
that much about all of the signs and symptoms. It's the same signs and symptoms you get for anything that involves stress.
Yeah.
And then you start to really get into that point of like, I feel like I don't have a way out, so I'm just going to keep going. And then like stage 4 is burnout.
Yeah.
you waste your
No, I was thinking when you said that, it's like I said before, like you can't see past the busyness. It's like the only way is through. Like, I don't know how else to deal with it, sort of thing.
And then you hit burnout, which is when you're like, so I personally think in the stages of burnout, stage 3 is when you're in fight or flight, and stage 4 is when you move into freeze. So it's that point at which your adrenals get quote unquote fatigued and they start underproducing cortisol as opposed to overproducing it. You've already stressed them out, so now you're hitting burnout. Yeah. It's when you get really, really tired. There can be a lot of procrastination, no motivation. And you can have those thoughts in your head of, God, I need to do this and I really want to do this, but the thought of it makes me want to throw up. The thought of having to stand up and move and open my computer actually makes me think that I might die. It's that freeze, it's that fear that's taking over. Or there's even the maybe I'm able to open my computer, but I get nothing from it. You almost start to numb out.
Yeah.
And those physical symptoms, mental and emotional, are plus the mental and emotional, my apologies, are going to get worse. Yeah. And then stage 5 is habitual burnout. This is when there's a sense, like a loss of your identity. Who am I? What am I doing? I'm stuck. I'm lost. I'm sad. I hate what I'm doing. I don't know what I want to do. All I know is that I'm unhappy and I'm ill and I feel frozen.
Yeah.
And the last 2 stages is definitely when you need to reach out for help. But if you haven't reached out by the time you get to stage 3 is where I put the flag up. But you can prevent all of this just by fixing stage 1, too. Yeah. But back to your original question, like the definition of burnout to me is when you start not, I should make this into an elevator pitch because I don't really have an exact definition.
I feel like it's very broad.
Yeah, but if you want to go by Google's, it's mental and emotional and physical exhaustion from overwork. Yeah. Whatever that overwork is. Yeah. Or overstimulation, overwhelm, over this, over that. It's essentially what it is. But the difference, I think, between burnout and the first 3 stages is that burnout is when you start to freeze. And the first 3 stages are when you're more in a state of fight or flight. Yeah.
That's a really good way to put it. And just talking through those 5 stages of burnout, I feel like because I said the word burnout is thrown around so much, and I feel like even when I had conversations with people after when I was recovering from burnout, and I obviously had to have a break from exercise, I there were so many conversations I had, and women that I was speaking to were so surprised that burnout was actually a thing. They thought it was just oh, I'm burnt out, but it is actually a thing. And I feel for women in particular, there needs to be that awareness, because they're and it'd it's so great for people to actually and even if you need to replay that 5 stages of burnout to go back and recognize where you might be at in that, and maybe you're not in it, maybe you do give yourself time and do all of the things. Yeah, maybe you're good, and that's amazing.
Your allostatic load is huge and it's only 50% full. There are people like that,
yeah,
mainly men, because they're designed to do it that way. But I know a lot of women who are busy as fuck and they're happy and healthy and they're thriving and they're totally okay. Was I one of them? No, but now I am. But I'm definitely not as busy as those people. But not everyone ends up burnt out. But essentially, it's a combination of stress and exhaustion. It's when people say they don't hear the term burnout often, even in my marketing, I find that if I use the term burnout, I get less revenue, I get less attention.
Interesting.
If I use the words exhaustion and stress, I get a lot more attention.
Yeah, there you go. Because it resonates.
People resonate with that. When people hear burnout, they think of their job. Yeah. Because maybe someone's job is the thing that's going right, and everything else around them is what's collapsing, so they don't put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah.
You know? Or a lot of people think, oh, well, there's nothing I can do about my job, so I might as well just have to live with it. So I'm not going to I'm not going to reach out to someone for help with burnout, because it's just stress and exhaustion.
Yeah, it's a normal thing, which we are obviously built to deal with some levels of stress, but not levels of stress that push us to stage 3, 4, or 5 burnout. And in terms of burnout, what would you say the main causes of burnout are? I feel we've spoken about that a bit already, but work, relationship.
I like to say, and again, it's different for everybody. My cause and your cause, completely different, to a degree. So first of all, you need to know your burnout personality. I like to say that there's 7. Hold on, let me see if we can name them all. So we have our perfectionist, our people pleaser, our empaths / fixers, our hyper independents, our overachievers, FOMO, and oh my god, I'm missing one, and it's really important. God, I can never remember all of them. Maybe it'll come to me.
It might come to you. We got 6 there.
It might come to me. I usually have them written down somewhere, but I can't remember. But anyway, identify which one you are first, because that's going to give you an idea of the belief system that you have. So, am I a perfectionist? Am I a people pleaser? Why am I doing these things? Your burnout personality will help you find why you're doing these things and where those habits came from. right? Like I'll use myself as an example. I grew up the middle child of 2 brothers, and I'm the only girl.
Same.
Same. See, there you go. Middle children. Middle children. We're either super successful or super fucked up. It's usually a combination of both.
I was gonna say, can it be both?
So I think a lot of people will resonate with this when I say, like, I was the child that my parents, quote unquote, didn't have to worry about.
Yeah.
Right? So I only got attention when I did things that were impressive, because my 2 brothers got attention for being chaotic and disappointing and annoying, for lack of better terms. And that's how I grew up. I grew up being the good girl. And my mom was very perfectionist. She's very vain. She has OCD. So I was raised around a lot of body dysmorphia, and like I would get in trouble for like not putting a dish in the sink. And my mom also was very, very orthorexic. And for people who may not know that term, it's the fear of not eating healthy. My mom was terrified of toxins. Like, we started eating organic when I was 8 years old. I would go to friends' houses and get grilled about what I ate. If I snuck food into the house, I would get grounded. Like, she would literally take my phone away if I ate chips.
Wow.
So I grew up in a house that was very pins and needles. And so that required me to be on my best behavior to avoid conflict and to avoid feeling like I'm the problem.
Yeah.
And so, like, I know a lot of other people have childhoods that are similar to that, but that's sort of where, again, like, looking at where your burnout personality, like, where it comes from and why. And then you need to think about the root causes of all disease. Burnout's not a disease, it is a symptom. But there are, again, signs that create that symptom. And so things that people do not check that they need to be checking are stress, right? What is causing your stress? Is it your mental beliefs? Is it unprocessed emotions? Is it trauma? Or, and this is the big thing, is it toxins? Do you have heavy metal poisoning? Do you have mold? How is your gut health? Do you have leaky gut? How is your immune system? All of those things, right? You need to think of, like, your mental and emotional toxins as well as the physical toxins, because they will, like, band together and, like, murder, like, eat you alive, essentially. So, like, you were one of the people that didn't have the physical toxins. You were more, like, emotional toxins, which is fine. But I was on the side where I had a lot of physical toxins. But I also have the MTHFR mutation. If anyone listening knows what that is, I won't explain it, but if you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
So that made me more susceptible to shit like that anyway. So it's know your personality and find your root cause. Because, and again, if it's an emotional toxin, is it your job? Is it someone that you're dating? Is it someone you're around? Is it a family member that you just need to cut out of your life for a little bit? Is it a trauma that you have not processed? Do you need to go to therapy? Do you need to do EMDR? Do you need to learn some somatic releasing? And essentially, when you boil down your root causes, it's all about your cells and all about your nervous system and all about your beliefs, because your cells are programmed by your beliefs.
Yeah,
your cells will also be what's destroyed by physical toxins, which will drain you of all your energy and affect your whole body, but so will unprocessed emotion. So it's really sitting down with yourself, maybe opening up a journal and saying, if I close my eyes and ask myself, because your subconscious will give you the answer right away. The longer you think about it, the longer you're trying to outthink your subconscious mind, which is a waste of your time. If you close your eyes right now and you go, hey, what's wrong with me? It'll tell you instantly. It's whether or not you want to listen, which is the hard part.
Yeah.
But those two beliefs, or no, those two things, your personality and your root cause, that is how you can start to say, okay, what is going on with me? And now that I know this, what are the steps I can take to fix it?
That's a really good way to put it, and like break it down to understand, because like I said, I feel like burnout is like, what is burnout? Like, you know, like you said, people resonate more with like stress and exhaustion. And yeah, that was a really good way to put it. And you actually like almost beat me to the next question I was going to ask, but like in terms of like the, I guess, like most common signs of burnout? Like, how can women, like, I guess, recognize that they are burnt out or are maybe approaching burnout?
Yeah. Especially women. I think energy is the first thing that gets shut down for us. Because we don't create energy like men. We simply don't. I hate to break it to you. So if you were feeling more tired than normal, that should be the very first thing. Like, as human beings, we are supposed to feel vital. You know, like, think about, like, as we age, of course not, because, like, when we're in our 70s, we don't produce ATP like we do when we're in our 20s. That's just life, right? Like, we age. But if you're in your 20s and you feel like shit, something's wrong, bro. Something's wrong. Another thing with women is PMS. If you have severe PMS, something is wrong. Because if you have hormonal imbalances, again, I could talk for hours about the science behind hormonal imbalances and all the stuff that attributes to them. But that's another really easy sign physically. So fatigue, PMS. The other thing I would say is gut issues and headaches. I think are the most common for. There's a trillion. Like, if you start getting acne or you have, like, histamine issues, that means your immune system's down. And your immune system's only down if you're plagued by certain things. So, you know, it's sort of like a big picture, a holistic picture sort of thing. Emotionally, I would say the first thing that starts to happen is anxiety. Do you have anxiety attacks? Do you have panic attacks? That means that your body can't handle the stress. And you don't know what to do with it. It's survival energy that you have not been releasing that now has no choice but to release itself.
Yes,
with a panic attack or whatever. The other things emotionally that are signs and symptoms are just like apathy, numbness, cynicism. Oh God, I'm really bad with, like, single words sometimes, but just like that feeling of, like, I'm not good enough. Like, I have to do more. I have to do more. If you think all of your problems will be solved by doing more, that is a red flag.
It's the complete opposite.
Your problems are solved by doing less. No matter what problem you have, it's solved by doing less. That's so true. Another feeling physically is the tired but wired, like you were saying. Like, I'm exhausted all day, now I can't sleep at night. Puffy face. If you wake up and your face is, like, swollen. That's another good one. I mean, there's a lot. If you go to my Instagram, I know that they're there.
And I mean,
somewhere. If you scroll.
Get caught in a scroll. No, we'll absolutely, like, I'll be sharing your socials and that in the links in the show notes below as well. And we'll also talk about that at the end. But I feel like it, like you said, it's so broad and it can be stemmed from so many different things. And I guess, you know, like, everyone's situation is completely different from one person to another. And, like, generally speaking, because again, like, it'd be different for everyone, but, like, how long, like, would you say, like, it takes to recover from burnout? Like, and, you know, I guess that probably depends on, you know, what stage of burnout it was. But yeah.
So, like, for me, I had emotional toxins, physical toxins. I was down for the motherfucking count. Like, when I tell you that I could not get up from my bed to walk to my bathroom, which is probably 5 feet away, that my mom had to help me for the first week, people had to bring all my food to my bed, and I had to get help to pee. Mine was severe, right? It took me about 2 months to get out of the bed, 6 months to feel like a human again. And around 7, 8, 9 months to be like, okay, I'm good. I'm thriving.
Yeah.
For a lot of my other clients who were definitely not on the severe train, I would say like 4 to 5 months. Because usually their biggest thing to tackle is the mind part. And when your mind stops thinking the way I say this, when your brain starts turning left instead of turning right,
Yeah.
because it always turns right. When you start changing your neural pathways and you finally start turning left, it takes care of itself almost to a degree, as long as you keep doing the work.
Yeah.
And making it part of your like everyday routine. So if you're like in the severe category, I would say anywhere from 6 months to a year and a half. And if you are in the non-severe category, I'd say anywhere from 6 months. And if you're in the middle, maybe 6 months to a year.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I said, there was a very very broad question to ask you as well. But you answered that so well. You did do well. And talking about like you said, like until you start to turn right instead of turning left. And like creating those new neural pathways and, overcoming old beliefs that, obviously weren't serving you. It's like I said, obviously what you are what you tell yourself, and your self-talk really drives your actions, which then dictates your choices and then your outcomes as well. And it's really, I guess, like you said, making it part of your routine, like making it become your new normal, and like repetition. Like it's just like, I don't know, I use this example with my clients, but it's just like when you go into the gym for the first time and you do like a bicep curl. It's like the first time you ever do a bicep curl, it's going to feel fucking hard. It's going to feel a bit uncomfortable. Like you're going to feel like, oh, this is a bit awkward. Like I don't really know what I'm doing. And then like the next time you pick up dumbbells and do the bicep curl, like it's going to feel that a little bit easier. And like the more repetitions you do, the easier it's going to get. And eventually you're going to pick up that set of dumbbells and do bicep curls, and you don't even need to think about it because it's just so natural to you because it's your new normal. And that comes from repetition and doing the thing over and over and over again, which creates obviously that neural pathway and like dictates that behavior. So just like anything, it's repetition and practice and sticking with it.
Yeah, consistency is key with everything.
Yeah.
You hit the nail on the head with that.
100%. And I always say like as well, like a prerequisite to consistency is like enjoyment, and like enjoying like the process of what you're doing. It's like, and making sure it's like realistic. Like, because if we were to say to like a client to say, you've got to go do this and this, and they're like, holy shit, like they can't even do one thing, let alone a million things, let alone on top of that they're like, I don't even enjoy this, like why am I doing this? It's like, it's not going to happen. So like you said, making it a part of your routine, so cementing it into your lifestyle to make it like become your new normal.
Yeah. And something I honestly will pat myself on the back for, like pride myself of, is like when I work with clients, I really, really I don't do my best to personalize. Like I am the best with personalizing their plan for them, because every single person has a different life. Every single person has a different belief system.
Yeah.
Every single person has different goals. And like a lot of people fucking hate journaling. I'm not going to force you to go journal if you can't stand it. There are a few select things I'll force my clients to do, like EFT tapping, but I make sure that they learn to love it. But like, there's so many things that someone can do to heal that they enjoy, that flow seamlessly into their life, so they don't have to feel like they have to take everything, light it on fire, and then rebuild it from the ground up. No. You just have to move around the furniture. You don't have to burn the house down.
Yeah, I love the way, I forget the word that you say, not the acronyms, what's the word?
EFT tapping?
No, the, like how you put a situation into another situation to make it easier to understand.
Fuck, I don't know.
You said it before, it'll come to me after. Not the acronyms, anyways, whatever it is. But that's a really good way to put it, like not burn the house down, like just walk between the furniture.
Yeah.
And yeah, because at the end of the day, like if that's going to be something that's going to add more physical, mental, emotional exhaustion on top of what they're already doing, it's probably going to overwhelm them more. So it's like, personalizing it. And like, I know obviously when we worked together, it was really much about personalizing it to me and, what was going to work for me. So, yeah. And in terms of like recovering from burnout, obviously we spoke about the time frames. What would you say, generally speaking, like where could people start in terms of like what could they do like physically to physically, emotionally, mentally, whatever, to recover from burnout? Like, obviously we spoke about like the regular breaks before. You sort of had mentioned emotions and expressing them. Like, yeah, let's talk about that, because I feel like the practical aspect of it.
I think the best place to start is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And I showed you this picture in our consult, I remember.
I remember too.
If you guys don't know what that is, Google a picture of it. It's called Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Maybe you can even stick a link.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. I'll put it in the show notes.
It's a pyramid. It's like the food pyramid kind of, but it's just like 5 blocks, right? And the bottom of the pyramid is like your physiological health, right? So when you're in burnout, it may have started with your mind and it started with stress, but now it's affecting your physical body. So you almost want to work backwards. So sleep. The first thing you need to freaking do is regulate your circadian rhythm, okay? And sleep is hard. I know that. I like to say that I'm also an expert on sleep. Like I can get any insomniac to like have the most peaceful sleep of their life. Like
I love that.
Dead ass. And then like your nutrition. I work with I tend to work with people who are completely healthy eaters, but they're not eating nearly enough. And they're not eating enough protein, and they're not eating nearly enough healthy fats as well, which is so important for your cell membranes. They're like, they're fine on like their fruits and their sweet potatoes and all that fucking shit. And I'm like, okay, well, great. But
what about this?
You're eating 40 grams of protein per day. And they're like, but I eat beans. And I'm like, unless you're a vegetarian or a vegan, you have no fucking excuse. I want red meat in your mouth right now. Supplementing if that is something that you need. What's the other thing? Just anything your physiological health. So your sleep, your nutrition, and you can dabble in stress management around that time of just being like, can I start to slow down? Can I start to slow down everything I'm doing by 15, 20%? Can I start taking breaks? And then you move into love, safety, and belonging. It's physiological, safety, love, belonging, in that order from the bottom up. So safety, we want to start being like, do I feel safe in my body? Do I feel safe with my job? This is when you start to sort of reevaluate your relationship with everything around you. Do I feel safe around the people that are in my day-to-day? Do I feel safe in my inner circle? Do I not? Are there things that are making me crazy? What do I need to figure out? This is when you start to do that, like in internalization. Love and belonging. Everything we do, every decision we make is to protect our love, safety, and belonging. Shanae's nodding her head. She's like, yeah. Oh, yeah. It is. Literally everything you do. Everything. I won't go into like too much detail about that, but that is essentially where you start doing more of the inner work, your relationship with yourself. Like, why do I search outward for love, safety, and belonging through productivity, through achievement, through success, through perfectionism, through people pleasing? Can I start to find love, safety, and belonging within instead of outside?
Yeah.
And that is where you again start doing the journaling, the meditating, the subconscious reprogramming, the nervous system regulation. That all happens within those big 3 chunks. And then on top of that, you have self-actualization and what is it? Self-esteem and then self-actualization. And that is sort of when you start taking everything that you've done and put it into practice. And then eventually you hit the top of the pyramid where you're like, I'm fine.
Yeah.
So, but if anyone is struggling this like at the moment, I would say start with the physiological needs.
Yeah. The big.
Fix your sleep, fix your nutrition, start supporting the body, and then you will have the energy to like think about yourself and everything that has led you to this point. Because if you don't have that energy to like release energy, then nothing's going to be okay. Your body needs energy to like think.
Literally.
So you literally cannot do anything without energy. So you need to sort of just reestablish that foundation first.
Yeah, 100%. And like,
also, I want to add this.
Yeah, go.
For the first 2 for physiological and safety, I want people to think about, it's not what you're doing, it's how you're doing it. Like, you don't need to quit your job to heal. You just need to like do it differently.
Yeah.
You don't need to stop exercising to heal. You might just need to do it differently for a little while. You don't need to, oh my God, go to the river to pray every single morning and have a 2-hour morning routine and a 2-hour night routine and like never look at a screen ever again. You just have to start doing it differently.
Yeah.
And I think like what I talked about earlier, like the way I work is a big way of how I do it differently.
Yeah. Which works for you and it allows you to be productive.
Works for me.
Yeah.
You know? There are some days where I don't take a break because I feel like I don't need it. And there are other days where I take more breaks than usual because I'm like, I'm simply don't have the energy. I'm not feeling it. I'm not here today.
Yeah.
But think about that. It's not what you're doing. It is how you're doing it and your relationship with it. And that'll help a lot within the love, safety, and belonging part.
Yeah, that's so true. And it's like, I guess like the safety part, it's like when our body does not feel safe, like whether it's from a limiting belief or from a circumstance or a relationship, like you said, like we are never going to feel calm and like our body's not going to be safe and we're going to be in fight or flight, whether we know it or not. Or even like you said, to the other extreme, like freeze, when our body's basically like, no, I'm not dealing with this anymore. But I will definitely link that in below so people can like see the visual on it and refer to it as well. I was going to say something else off the back of that, but I can't remember what it was now. Completely went out of my mind. But I feel like that's a really good like rundown on like burnout, like what it is, the signs, like recovery, like practical things that people can do to recover from it as well. And if I was to ask you like your and like we can both run through this, but like if you were to say, like I said, I feel like everything happens for a reason. Like you had to experience burnout to be where you are like today. Like you would not be where you are right now if that like series of events didn't happen for you. And I truly believe that it shapes us into the people, the person that we are today. And, you know, one turn differently would have like resulted in a completely different reality. I think it's just crazy how like, you know, like the universe is constantly guiding us. I just strongly believe that. But like for me, I feel like it really, like it was a huge wake up call to be like, what the fuck am I doing? And like I had to experience that to realize that I'm important and I'm worthy of giving time to me and prioritizing myself. And like since doing so, like has been the biggest like life-changing thing of my life ever. Like actually being able to prioritize myself. And like I said, I was saying to you before we jumped on like on this Zoom to record the podcast, I was saying like the last month has been like crazy for me. And like I've been like so much more mindful around, okay, I need to have breaks and do this and do that. And like a completely different place to where I was last year. And I've learned like so much from that. And it's even, I guess, like pushed me into like a, you know, personal transformation, self-development, like journey, even like becoming like more spiritual and things like that. And like that never would have happened if I didn't experience that. And in saying that, like you said before, like it's not all like going on a quote unquote healing journey. Like it's not all rainbows. Like it gets hard before it gets better. But like I think it's just coming back home to ourselves and understanding what we really need. And like you said, addressing why we search for, you know, things external to us to, you know, try and create that love, safety and belonging. Whereas, you know, it is only ever going to come from within. Like anything external to us is not going to make us happy. Like happiness is an inside job. It's not an outside job. What I was going to say with that is I'm on a little bit of a tangent there, but the top 3 like lessons and like what like you and I have learned from experiencing burnout. Like what would you say like the biggest 3 things that you've taken away from like your personal experience with burnout? What would they be? Or even if you've got one that's really prominent.
I would say the first one immediately coming to my mind is absolutely nothing is worth risking your health. Nothing. No person, no relationship, no job, no paycheck, no nothing. Because without your health, you have nothing. You literally have nothing. I have been in my bed unable to move. I promise you, you have nothing. Nothing is worth it. I have become the most selfish person. Like, my family, I'll be completely honest, my family gets upset with me. They literally think I'm selfish. Like, they'll be like, can you do this? And I say, no.
And that's having firm boundaries because you know that you're important.
But I don't even care, right? So, like, I'm happy. I'm happy to be selfish. And I think that's, like, the second lesson is, like, being selfish is completely underrated. There's a big difference between being like an unkind, selfish person.
Yeah.
And being selfish to be selfless.
Yes. Yeah.
When it comes to yourself. And I'd say the third lesson, this more pertains to me in my journey, is check everything at the beginning. Don't wait years and years and years for someone to find out you have heavy metal poisoning.
Yeah.
Like, just check. If you do not feel well, check everything. Listen to that voice in your head. Listen to your intuition. Actually, let's make that the third one.
Yeah.
Let's make that the third one. Listen to your intuition. If something is wrong, it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. You are the one usually paying them to help you. You are the one living inside your body. You are the one inside your own brain hearing your thoughts. Listen to yourself. And I guess I'll tack on a fourth, just because a lot of mine came from my self-worth. And like a big part of my burnout was the breakup that I went through. And I realized like through therapy and through my healing that like it was a complete reflection of like my relationship with my mom, which I thought was a daddy issue. I thought it was a daddy issue. Oh my God, it was so crazy. All my daddy issues are actually mommy issues. It's wild. But like learning that you are enough, and that when someone else makes you feel like you are not, it is because they are not. There's something lacking within them. The "it's not me, it's you" is real. It's a shit excuse, but it's real. So I would guess I would say the fourth thing, I am not the problem. Or I was not the problem. It was not my fault. Yeah. Like I am worthy and I'm enough.
And you're whole.
No matter what happened, no matter how it ended, no matter who said what, like inherently as a human being, as a spiritual, magical being on this planet, you are enough. Like it is your birthright to be enough.
100%. That was really well said. And it's like,
what
was that?
That was four things.
Four things. Yeah, that's perfect. Come on for good luck. And it's like other people are our biggest teachers. It's like you said, like if someone triggers us, or like, you know, we get upset with someone by something, or, you know, something happens that's it's telling like two sides to that. It's like telling more about them than it is to you. But if you're getting triggered by something, it's like that's a teacher. Like there's something that's obviously in that situation that you can learn from and take away and like learn about yourself more. Yeah, I feel like that is just like biggest teacher are other people around us.
Yeah, I love that. And to piggyback off of that, this is not like totally on topic, but I always like to my clients right now, I didn't do this with you. But now what I have them do is I have them make a list of all the qualities and traits and beliefs of the people that trigger them. And I have them circle all the ones that they hate. And I ask them, do you have that trait within yourself?
Wow. That's like, I feel like it's like getting real with yourself and really like diving deep in and acknowledging.
Make a list of all the traits you hate about the person that triggers you and make sure that you start on them. What
was that last part? Make sure
that you start unlearning them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So like, again, I'll use myself as an example. Like, my mom is very fearful. She's very judgmental. She's very perfectionist. So every time I feel like I want to judge somebody, or every time I feel afraid of something, every time I feel like, oh, I want to do that better, or I don't like the way my hair looks today, or I want a nose job or something like that, I'm like, no, because that is my mom's belief system. That's not mine.
Yeah. And it's so good that you can look at that and recognize that.
So yeah, go make a list of all the things you hate about other people.
And then
circle
what triggers you. And what was the question? What traits of those do you have in yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. I might even write.
Because you learned them from those people, essentially. Like, it's like it's very rare that someone's like, oh, my best friend triggers me. No, it's usually someone who you grew up with. Like whether it's your parents, your grandparents, maybe it was a teacher who said something that now when it comes up in another person triggers you. Like just make a list of the traits that person has and say, do I have these traits and do I want to be them?
Yeah, that's a really good. I think I might even do that as well. I feel like it's getting really real with yourself.
Yeah.
I feel like one of my biggest, I guess, lessons and things that I took away from burnout is like it literally took me until breaking point to remind me like what the most important things in my life are. And it's like, I think I even said this to you, like in our coaching, I was like, if I died tomorrow, literally fucking no one would care like how productive I am, how much money I have, how hard I worked, how this, that, like, you know, what they're going to remember is like me for who I am, me for the way that I showed up, me for like, you know, for me, not anything external to me, like my productivity and all of those things. And it's like, it was a huge wake up call for me to realize that. And like, I feel like so many people get caught up in, you know, the busy seasons of life, the chaotic stuff, the stress, the, you know, whatever it might be, that we forget that like we don't take anything to us with the grave, and we don't know when the fuck our last day is going to be. Like, we are not guaranteed tomorrow. We are only like, it's like literally the present is all we have, and life is so fragile. So it's like, start walking through life with your eyes open rather than your eyes closed, just going through the motions and the same like shit over and over again. Like, what do you really want? Like, how, like, who do you want to be? And be that, not, you know, waiting for the right time or waiting for this or waiting for that, because, you know, that might never come if you keep waiting. And I feel like I said this one before, but I had said like, you know, the saying that you can't pour from an empty cup. And like having experienced what an empty cup like truly, I guess, feels like is, you know, is so fucking true. Like, like you can't pour anything into anyone else's cup if yours is empty. And like, I guess, you know, what I mean by that for when I was in burnout is like, you know, it had impacts on my relationships or my friendships. I couldn't be the friend that I wanted to be. I couldn't be there for my friends like I wanted to be. I couldn't be the partner that I wanted to be. I couldn't be the sister, the daughter that I wanted to be. And, you know, like I couldn't give my absolute all to my clients, even though, you know, I gave them every piece of me that I had left. But like, you simply cannot show up as the best version of you if you're not giving to yourself and filling your cup up. And like that was probably like my biggest takeaway, that like you are important, you matter, you are deserving and worthy of giving time to yourself as well. And I think I've actually got 4. That was 2. You simply cannot sweep everything under the rug, because it gets to a point where it gets fucking full and you can't sweep anything under there anymore.
That's your suitcase.
Yes,
you
that's true.
You can't dump all the shit in the suitcase. You can't put your dirty laundry in the suitcase after a trip. You know what I mean?
100%. And it's like, that's so true. It's my suitcase. Because like expressing emotions, like that's something that I, like growing up, have always struggled to do with, I guess, the way that I was brought up. And like it was hard for me to be vulnerable, but now it is safe for me to be vulnerable. It's like one of my affirmations.
You can cut this out if you want, but I remember when you cried for the first time in a session and I felt like I had struck gold. I was like, she cried.
I know, and I'm totally not cutting that out. But 100%. I remember that. And I think it was like our second or like third session in. And I remember the exact moment. Like, well, literally I was sitting right here. And I remember after it, like I like had felt so much better for it, and I like was just so much more aware of it. And I think after, like not long after that, like I had some stuff going on, and I noticed myself wanting to cry about something, and my body was like, no, like you can't cry, like what are you doing, like that's not safe, that's not what you do. And then like I physically tried to cry and I couldn't, and it was like because I'm so used to suppressing my emotions, and I didn't know how to express how I felt and, you know, how I was feeling, and, you know, all of the things, which like, I mean, I've come so far with like since then, and awesome. Also thank you to you. But you can't sweep everything under the rug or put it in the suitcase, because it gets to a point where it's full and you have to fucking do something about it.
It's either now or later, and the later is not fun. Not fun at all.
100%. Like it's, it just gets, it's more shit you got to deal with, basically. And I feel like I sort of just said this one before, but like to live and to be alive, to live doesn't mean you're alive. Like,
Yeah.
we are all obviously alive, but like I said before, like, stop walking with our eyes closed through life, like going through the motions, doing the things, chasing a never-ending to-do list, which is never going to end anyways.
Never.
Never. And, actually start having intention of how you want to show up and how you want to live your life, and, prioritizing yourself, and do things that bring you happiness and joy, and fill up your cup so that you can be more and a better sister, brother, partner, whatever it might be, to the people around you. And, I guess, like, I learned through burnout as well that, you can still burn yourself out doing something that you love. And even if you're passionate about it, like, and, love the work that you do. And I know, obviously, like you said, not everyone's burnout is in relation to work. Mine was it was a big part of it, with, other, I guess, contributing factors as well. But like, I obviously love what I do, hence why I'm here and doing what I do. But like, it's like some level or degree of, I guess, balance is required in every area of our life. And, if there's no balance, like, the scales are going to tip in one direction. And you said something before, I can't remember what exactly you said, but it's like, it basically gets to a point where that thing, I think it was when you were talking about the stage one, like the endorphins of, like, starting something new. It's like exciting. You're exhausted, but it's exciting. It's like, when it tips in one direction, like, and I know you actually call this, you don't like the term balance. I think you say work-life harmony, don't you?
Work-life harmony.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Can you explain, like, what that is?
Yeah. There's no such thing as balance, right?
Yeah.
So, like, you were saying, like, with tipping the scale, and like a 50-50 balance means that nothing moves, right? Like, you can hold these two things in your hands and not one gets higher than the other. But that's not how life works. Like, life, you hear me say this all the time, life is always lifing.
Yeah.
Right? So the scales are always going to tip. There might be a family emergency, and that scale is going to go whoop, way up, and the other side of the scale is going to go way down, because you might have to take time off work, or you might have to put other stuff on hold, whatever, or you might get promoted in your job, and you might have to, like, have, like, a busy season that's like 2 or 3 months, and maybe your social life goes down. That's okay. So balance, especially for the perfectionists and the overachievers, is almost detrimental as a belief system of, I need everything to be balanced. I have to make sure that I get my workout in, get my meditation, do all my wellness, do my job, get my paycheck, see my social life, date the best person, and do all this before I turn 30. That is, like, poison to your brain, or poison to a perfectionist, And so with work-life harmony, it allows for the space for your life to breathe. It allows for the flow. Because harmony is all about things working together in a way that, like, if you want to think about it in music, it's two sounds that join together to make a beautiful noise, right? So if you can take different aspects of your life and bring them together in a way that makes sense to you and creates harmony instead of, like, rigidness. I always say you're healing when you can be more flexible.
Yeah.
That also means that your nervous system is healing too. So it's going from the idea of rigid 50-50 to flexible flow of saying, okay, I don't have time for this today, and that's okay, but I have time for it tomorrow.
Yeah.
And letting all those things just, like, coexist.
Yeah, that's a really good way to put it. And it's because it's like, life is always going to be life, and there's always something that's going to be coming up. And it's like something that I really learned with through working with you is, like, self-compassion. Like, I had none of that before, as you know.
None of my clients do.
Yeah. And it's like even, I guess, like, my clients as well, it's like they are, like, we all are our own worst enemy. And it's like, practice, like, life's always going to be life. Like, if something comes up today and you can't get your workout in, or you can't do this, or you can't do that, whatever it might be, it's like, that is okay. Like, give yourself, like, permission to be kind to yourself and focus on what you can control in that moment. And, it's like, okay, I'll make time later in the week to do this. Like, it is not the end of the world, but, like, we react like it is. And then that's what, how the stress I guess, like the ripple on effect that then has.
Yeah. One of my clients loves to say it's not that deep. It's not, dude. It's not that fucking deep. It's not that serious. Like, we were put on this earth to, like, frolic naked and, like, live in the woods. And all of a sudden, everyone decided to, like, invent light bulbs and build big buildings. And now we do the opposite of what we are put here to do. It's not that deep. And here's the thing. Like, as women, I know people, like, hate to say that women can't have it all. But, like, you can have it all. But, like, I also want to say this, too. Like, it's okay if you decide you don't want it. It is okay if you decide you don't want it. I talk all the time about how I cannot wait to marry a rich man and never have to work again a day in my life. But maybe I'll change my mind again. And maybe I will want to work every day in my life. I don't know. Right? So when you're coming out of this season of burnout, when you're like, what is it that I want? Do I want to do something I'm passionate about that stresses me out? Do I want to do something I'm not passionate about? Like, it doesn't matter. It is not that deep. At the end of the day, it's just stuff. It's just stuff. And I know that so much stress comes from finances. And that's usually, like, I would say the first or second biggest stressor of everybody that I work with. Yeah. And the compassion that everybody lacks is that I need to do more. I need to do more. I need to do more. I'm not doing enough. If I'm not doing enough, I'm not going to have the life that I envision for myself. And therefore, I am failing myself.
Yeah.
And I'm failing the people that expect things of me. Yeah. And that becomes such an issue. So, like, it is okay to change your mind. It is okay to, like, change your path. It is okay to fucking give up if you want to. I don't care. If giving up is going to make you healthy and happy, give up.
Yeah. Like,
I don't care.
Give yourself permission to do whatever it is, regardless of what anyone else thinks. Like, what do you truly want to do?
But you will never be able to give yourself permission without that compassion.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Self-compassion.
That compassion is, I'm glad you brought that up. It's one of the most important things when it comes to, I mean, with every human in general, nearly with every issue that someone experiences, there's always a lack of self-compassion. And, like, I'm not perfect. I struggle with it too. Like, every day I'll be like, God, Mariella, you look like ass today. Like, what are you doing? And then I'm like, no, be nice to yourself. And I'm like, okay.
100%.
You look fine. I'm sorry. It's kind of like when two little kids fight with each other in the playground and the teacher's like, say you're sorry. And you're like, I'm sorry. You're like, kind of don't mean it, but you're like, I know you should say it.
You're forced to say it. But it's like the more times you do that and reaffirm to yourself, like the more that you're going to believe that as well. And like going to like make that your new reality and, you know, be someone who is self-compassionate towards yourself and others as well.
Yeah. And sadly, our brains like favor being negative. But I want you to think about, like, would it be more enjoyable to sit there and hate yourself and doubt yourself and work yourself into the ground? Or would it be like way more fun to like yourself, be confident, live and thrive and be alive and like give yourself permission to do what it is you want to do, whether it's quote unquote like accepted by social norms or not, whatever. Which one feels better? A lot of people never go for the one that would feel better because they don't know how to get there because they don't have the compassion to do so. They don't believe in themselves, right? So everything comes back to that belief system. But at the end of the day, that positivity isn't going to come out of thin air. You have to create it.
So true. And I feel like we're so conditioned from, you know, from the way that we're brought up and society and all of the things. It's like we're so conditioned to like focus on the negatives, or it's like someone will always say to us, oh, you did this wrong. So we then are conditioned to, you know, point out the things that we didn't do well enough at, we didn't do good enough or whatever it might be. And it's like, you know, if you were to think about I'm not good enough, you could probably find a million reasons of evidence that supports you're not good enough. But it's like, can you find reasons that, you know, you are good enough? And like, just again, like the repetition, the practicing doing that, like that'll start to become your new normal. And like, I guess like that's something that we like really did like during our time as well. And it's like, you know, your RAS system in your brain, like your reticular activating system is like, it is a filtration system that literally it filters what is like where your energy goes, your attention, I always stuff it up. Where your energy goes, attention flows.
Yes, you got it.
Did I get it? Where your attention goes, energy flows. We got there in the end. But like, it's so true, because it's like the more you see it, the more that you'll see it.
Exactly. My new favorite mantra is I can, I am.
Oh, I like that. I can, I am.
I can, and I am. I can do anything. I am everything. It's as simple as that, because it's the truth of every single human that walks this planet. I can, I am. Done.
Yeah, that's so true.
So if you can't say I love myself, you don't need to say you love yourself. Just say I can, I am.
Yeah, that's so true.
Every time you doubt yourself, every time you're having a moment, nope, I can, I am.
Yeah.
I can, I am.
Yeah. And so so simple too. That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. So I had some questions from my audience on social media. I put up a story box to see if anyone had any questions around burnout, and I did have some come through. So are you happy to answer a few questions?
Yeah, I'll rapid fire them.
I love that. So tips. I actually wasn't sure if you knew what this was, but tips on how to do FIFO without getting burnt out in the long run. I don't know if you guys do have that over in Arizona or in America.
What?
FIFO.
Sorry.
So FIFO is like fly in, fly out work. It's like when someone flies in, they work for like a week straight, they fly out. Like, do they have that over there?
Yes. Okay, so that's I think she probably means like it fucks with her circadian rhythm. So she's probably just like tired and being like she's like constantly jet lagged. First thing I would do is I would get a supplement. I would say that this is something that is just like not super easy. I would focus on your stress management, your sleep, and a supplement, because it's hard to focus on your sleep when your circadian rhythm is like, I don't know what time it is.
Yeah, and especially if you're flying from different time zones as well. That's a good
time
point.
zones, yeah. And if she's not flying from different, maybe I wonder if she's what is it, stewardess? Flight attendant. That's what they are.
Oh, no, actually, and I know who asked this question. She's relatively new to the job, but I don't know where she's like stationed, where she does it. She works in the mines.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I would focus on circadian rhythm, stress management, nutrition, and supplementation to support her adrenals and to help with her sleep. So like magnesium glycinate, L-theanine. If she can't turn off her mind at night, GABA might even be a really nice one. Also, like botanicals would be like valerian, chamomile. I'm forgetting one, but just like a sleepy time tea, just anything to help relax the body. Just the stress management part is huge. I would say look up some vagus nerve stimulation. And when she's on the plane, I would take that time to chill. Yeah. Right? Like you're there, you can't move, you can't do anything. I would download meditations for the plane. I would bring a book. Like, don't stick her face in a screen and make her circadian rhythm even worse. Yeah. The entire time she's on the flight, you know what I mean? And just make sure that her nutrition is like supplementing her well.
Yeah, perfect.
I hope that answered the question, Angel.
Perfect. And so next question. I'm pretty sure my sister is burning herself out. I try and tell her to slow down, but she doesn't listen. Do you have any tips on how I could support her as an outsider?
Okay, so as someone who is an overexercising anorexic, the second you tell me that there's a problem, I'm going to get defensive and I'm going to say, you're the problem.
It's like when you tell someone to calm down when they're not fucking calm. It's like, fuck off.
Oh, yeah. When I was in that stage of my life, if anyone told me I was too skinny, I released all fucking hell on them. So she's not going to listen to a single thing you say. So you need to be strategic and smart and kind of sneaky about it. So what you can do is you can start maybe inviting her to go do things that are relaxing. Ask her to go see a movie. Ask her to go get dinner and take her somewhere really like healthy and nourishing. And like this is not your job is not to take care of her. First of all, you don't need to burn yourself out trying to help someone save themselves from burnout. But like, you can always like make her a cup of tea. Be like, hey, I made myself some chamomile tea. Do you want some? And like give her some tea. Just anything you're doing for yourself that is around the term of slowing down and stress free. Maybe invite her or share it with her. You could also Yeah, I'm just trying to think of like anything that wouldn't make her defensive. And then over that period of time, maybe if she wants to listen, you could bring it up, or you could direct her to someone like me, or just like share a story with her that makes it sound like it's not about her, but you're like trying to like connect dots for her, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And I truly believe like we are ready to hear or listen when we are ready to hear or listen. Like I remember like in my journey, like years ago, like I would have a friend that would like, you know, say something like, you know, it's like slow down, like do this or that. It's like that was just like a tunnel vision. Like it wasn't like it went in, but it went straight out the other ear. Like I was not at that point in my life like ready to do so. And yeah, so but that's really good. Like inviting her to come along with like to go to the movies or like things that are going to come and regulate her nervous system. Yes, 100%.
But like again, perfect. Like it's your sister's journey. Like it's so sweet that you were looking out for her and like you want to be there for her and you want to help. But again, like it's not your circus, not your monkey. So if she hits a breaking point, that sucks. But maybe that's her wake up call, like it was for us. Yeah. So again, like just the things I said, but also like it's at the end of the day, it is her journey.
Yeah, and it's like the monkey circus thing that you just said. It's like you can lead you can lead a horse to hoard up. Sorry, I can't fucking talk today.
No, you got it. I know what you're
You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
Yes.
So yeah, so true. Okay, next question. Best ways to cope with stress.
Best ways to cope with stress.
I feel like we sort of like, I feel like what we went over today was quite broad. Like we covered a lot with that.
I have a lot of stress management and nervous system regulation up my sleeve. I'm about to launch a membership. I'll talk about it more at the end. That has a lot of this stuff in it because it's kind of hard to describe stress management. It's a lot. I don't want to say complex, but stress management is very simple. But there's certain things you can do that dramatically help over the things that someone's going to tell you, like, oh, do some deep breathing. You know, deep breathing is great. Being connected to your breath is great. But if someone doesn't know how to breathe and they're like shallow breathers who are always stressed out, it's not going to help that much. Okay. Yeah. So for stress management, I would say the first thing is nutrition and hydration. First thing. Yeah. Your body needs, your adrenals need vitamins and minerals to like support themselves. The second thing I would say is start resting. Do some yoga nidra. I think yoga nidra is honestly actually one of the best ways to describe stress management. If no one knows what it is, go on YouTube, type in 25-minute yoga nidra. There are 1,000 free videos. Pick one, do one, and you'll understand what it means to connect to your body and calm the hell down.
Sorry, I wanted to butt in there really quickly. Because obviously like when I was working with you, I had a break from exercise for like six months. And I, like when I was slowly easing back into it, like I was doing a lot of restorative yoga, like walking, like slow movement. And when I actually went to my first hot yoga class back, which was, I can't remember, maybe it was like 2 months ago now or something. I remember walking out of there and I was like, holy fuck. Like I've never felt so present in my body whilst exercising before and like connected to my body and my breath and the movement. Like I was like, whoa, like what the hell? Like, yeah, it was just like it was.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Sorry, I had to bump in and say that.
No, it just really is. Like I agree 100%. Like I used to, when I did yoga, I always used to need to like watch a video and like do it along with someone. Now I crave doing it by myself in complete silence. Or sometimes I listen to music, but I love doing it by myself and just being like, how does my body want to move? But anyway, the last thing for stress management is start feeling your emotions. When you're angry, get angry. Just when you're sad, be sad. Don't just bottle all of that up. I would say the easiest way for someone to start feeling their emotions is getting into their body. So literally stand up and jump up and down. That's the first thing I want you to do. That's going to help reset your nervous system. It's going to help your body understand where it's at in space. Also anything that stimulates the vagus nerve, like stretching and yoga, do that too. And if your stress is annoying, then again, you can also use supplementation. Ashwagandha is my favorite. It depends on like what side of the stress you're on. Like, are you making too much cortisol or you're not making enough? That would determine what kind of supplement you would take.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
I have a lot of information about this on my new thing.
Yeah, cool. We'll talk about that in a second because I feel like it would be beneficial for many. Because stress is something that's so prominent this day and age. Next question. We've got 3 to go. Does having a dysregulated nervous system lead to burnout? And if so, what is the best way to re-regulate it?
Yes, it does. The best way to re-regulate your nervous system is start with interoception. Those 2 minutes where you sit down and say, what do I feel? And how can I calm down? It's all nervous system. I actually just worked with a nervous system coach. I'm going to plug her. Her name is Erica Bustos. She's amazing. I worked with her for 6 months. And I learned more from her than I did paying thousands and thousands of dollars for the most popular and most followed people on the gram for nervous system regulation. And I'll tell you what she taught me, but not too much because I don't want to give all of the information away for free. But essentially, nervous system regulation is about taking your power back over your body. It's about listening to your body. It's about being best friends with your body. It's about taking agency over your body. Every sign, symptom, feeling, and emotion is survival energy. Survival energy just needs to be released. There's nothing to be afraid of. Like your emotions or anything, or like those thoughts in your head. There's nothing to be afraid of. It's just survival energy. And for me, hearing that made this click that I was like, oh, I'm actually safe 1,000% of the time. If I don't feel safe, it's survival energy being like, I don't feel safe. And it's my job to then communicate to that part of me, which is in my amygdala, and say, no, you are. And the way that you do that is through the body and then through the mind. You have to change your physiology before you can change your psychology. If you change your physiology, your psychology will follow you. How often do you exercise and all? But how often is your world ending and then you go exercise and you're like, oh, I'm good, I'm fine.
100%. 100%. Movement is medicine.
So nervous system regulation is not hard. It's consistency in finding what works for you and finding what makes sense. So I would say get out of your mind, get into your body, and start listening to yourself and taking agency. Agency means do what your body says to do. When you need to pee, you go pee. You don't hold it and like pee on yourself.
Yeah. So it's like listening to that in other areas of life instead of ignoring it. And
if you want to go for a walk, go for a walk. If you want to eat this for dinner, make sure it's the healthy version of that, but eat it for dinner. You know, like all these signals and signs from our body are helping us stay in homeostasis. Like after we get off this call, I'm going to have to go take a walk. Like I've been sitting for 2 hours. My body's like, please get up and move, right? Taking agency is getting up and going for a walk. Not taking agency would be like, no. But my body's like, but you need to. And then I'm like, no. But your body's like, please. And you're like, no. So taking agency is answering the calls of the body. Okay?
Yeah.
Next question.
That was a really good way to put it. What is the impact burnout has on trying to lose weight?
Oh, a big one.
Yeah.
I feel like Shanae could answer this one, but essentially it just fucks with everything. Like it's going to raise your cortisol, it's going to raise your inflammation, it's going to fuck with your thyroid.
100%.
It just does, like, period. It can also cause a lot of insulin resistance, chronic stress, which is also going to impact your ability to lose weight. It's going to mess with your hormones. If you become estrogen dominant through chronic stress and dysregulation, God bless you. It is hard to lose weight if you're estrogen dominant. It could lead to PCOS. Lots of things. So if you have anything to say about that, go ahead.
Yeah.
But
I guess
that's my 2 cents.
Yeah.
It does, period.
Yeah, 100%. And I guess it's like when your body does not feel safe, like if you're in fight or flight 24/7, like it doesn't give a fuck about if you want to lose weight or what, like, any of that stuff. It's like its main its main aim is to stay alive, to survive. And it's like, if we're getting chased by a lion, like our body's main goal is to stay alive. And our body doesn't know that like a perceived threat, like being, running late to work, like, and we're not on time and we're stressing, or being chased by a lion. Like at the end of the day, our reaction to it, I guess, is very similar. And hang on a second. Our reaction to it is very similar. So it's, it doesn't give a shit if we want to lose weight or if we want to do, whatever it might be. Its main goal is to stay alive. And until you can, re-regulate your nervous system and come back into homeostasis, is only then when, you know, your body will start to feel safe and lose weight, providing, you know, I guess your nutrients, your nutrition and, you know, your movement and all that sort of stuff is, and stress management obviously as well, is all, I guess, on track. So yes. Next question. Thank you. Last question. Can other people cause you to burn out? Asking for a friend, lol.
That's brilliant. My breakup was the catalyst of my burnout. Yeah. It 1,000% was. I went psycho cuckoo crazy after that breakup because it pushed the button on everything that I didn't want to believe about myself. The other thing is, like, again, I've talked about this. I talked about my mom so much. But I'm using myself as an example for the people. But like I have a lot of contact with my mom right now, and girl, but just like her energy burns me out. It stresses me out. I once worked. Actually, no, all my jobs are pretty good. Yeah, I've never had a problem with part-time jobs, but I know other people have. But no, other people can 1,000% bring you up. 100%. When they drain you, if you're around someone who's draining you of your energy, it's not someone that you are meant to be around. They're not part of your soul tribe. They're not part of your alignment. They're not part of your authentic self, which means that you can either eliminate that person from your life or distance yourself from them or create some nice, lovely boundaries. You don't need to be an asshole. You don't need to be a bitch. You can just use the excuse of people grow apart. That's what I like to say.
Yeah. 100%. And like you even said before, like relationships that, like, if it's not serving you, like, yeah, set those boundaries. And there was something that I was just going to say. Something that we worked through. It's like identifying your energy givers and your energy drainers. It's like actually just checking the fuck in with yourself for a second. It's like what gives you energy and what drains your energy, and actually identify that, and then, you know, let that dictate your actions, and making sure you have, I guess harmony between the two, but focusing on what gives you energy.
I have very sensitive energy. I live with a group of people, and if one of them comes home and they're in a bad mood, my body is automatically like, go to your room, get away from them.
Get out.
Like, I can't do it. Like, I can't be around people who are complaining all the time. It literally, like, hurts my soul. It feels like it cuts off my soul at the knees. I'm like, no, I need to excuse myself goodbye. Or like, even when I'm with a really good friend who is just constantly talking about all the bad things in life, I literally will tell them, I'll be like, you need to stop.
I feel like you're very, I feel like you're very much like an empath though.
I sadly am. It's funny. I'm an empath for everybody except for my family members. My family members, I don't give a shit. It's so bad. It's so bad. But for everybody else, I am an empath.
That's so funny. Is there anything else that you wanted to share, or I guess a feeling called to share, or like before we finish up this podcast? Anything that we haven't touched on? Take care of
yourself. Like, I mainly work with young girls. Why are we this, I for lack of better terms, fucked up so young? It's scary. It is truly scary to me how this happened to me when I was 24 years old. It started happening when I was 23. You know? You're younger than me, but like I'm 27 now.
I just turned 28 yesterday. We're the same, because you're 28. Yeah. Well, actually, you're today. It's actually probably your today. It's the 11th there at the moment, isn't it?
Happy birthday, love you so much. Oh my god.
It's not as exciting when you get older.
I hate people don't tell me your birthday. Like, tell me your birthday. I don't think it's weird. Like, it's my birthday. Tell me happy birthday, and I will be so happy that you told me. Anyway, what were we talking about?
You had said that you're older than me because you're 28 this year.
I turned 28 in November.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm 2 months older. Yeah.
Yeah, but like I work with young people. We think we're invincible. I promise you, we're not. Lucky you. Like, I don't know how many of your listeners are in Australia, but like in America, our country is toxic. You know, the people are toxic. The food is toxic. The buildings are toxic. The products, like everything is toxic here. So not only are you good, like with this perceived stress, you're gonna take on this physical stress, whether you like it or not. You're not invincible. And I think that's something that people need to understand. And it's sad and it sucks to be like, oh, wait, I'm not made of fairy dust. No, you are made of the most comprehensive, like, unit to ever exist. Like, the way our body function is obscene. Like, I have taken, oh my God, what is it? Biochem. And anyone out there has taken biochem or science or like knows about the human body and the way that everything goes together and everything functions, it is almost disgusting how perfectly everything needs to happen for a human to be at their best. So just take care of yourself. You are not invincible. Just take care of yourself.
Yeah, that's
Please.
it. Really, powerful message, because we
You're too young.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, we are important and we're deserving and worthy of taking care of ourselves, and that will allow us to, you know, give more to others and take care of others. But when we don't give to ourselves, we can't do that, and we can't show up as the best version of ourselves as possible.
Yeah. And I already said it, but I'll say it again. If you're not happy, change. Life's too short. If you hate what you're doing, don't quit and like drop everything, but like start making
small changes.
What is it? Plans to tunnel your way out.
Yeah.
Like, if you can change your life at any single moment, I am telling you, I was bed bound in the hospital. Like, literally, again, like I felt like I died. And even then, you can come back. You can come back from anything. 100%. It might take time. It might not look like how you think it's going to look. It might be faster. It might be slower. It might be easy. It might be really fucking hard. But if you are not happy and if you are burnt out and you are lost, you can turn the car left at any second instead of right.
Yeah, 100%. It's a choice, and you are more than capable of doing it, and we are powerful and innate human beings.
Once upon a time, I said that on Instagram in a reel. I said, like, being burnt out is a choice. And there were people in the comments who were so unhappy. It was the first time I ever got hate. And when you get hate on a post, you know it's true because you poked something in someone that feels triggered by that. They're like, it's a choice. No. That is someone who's living in their shit.
Yeah.
And it's sad. I don't want you to live in your shit. But it is a choice. You're right. So I just wanted to point that out.
100%. And it's like exactly like that thing you said before, where it's like write down the traits of like the people, like obviously who, like the haters that triggered them, so they're like fighting back.
Exactly.
So if anyone like that listened to this podcast, I guess feels really intrigued, and maybe they know that they're on the verge of burnout, or maybe they've had cycles of burnout in the past, where, like, I guess what do you offer that could support them on their journey, or like where could they start?
Yeah, so reach out to me, girly. Go to my Instagram. My TikTok is so. We're working on it. But all of my stuff is really on my Instagram. Shay will put it in the show notes.
Yeah.
But reach out to me. I have single coaching. I have burnout program coaching, which is a 4-month comprehensive program. I have one-on-one sessions for 90 minutes for a specific sum of money. And then I am also going to be launching my Girl Boss Glow Up membership, which is dedicated for all those girlies in their career era who want to trade stress for success, burnout for balance, and exhaustion for energy with easy, sustainable, flexible, done-for-you strategies. There's not a single video you have to watch. It's not like what is it?
Like an education platform,
you click on your shit
resources.
And you get what you need.
Yeah, resources.
There's certain tabs that are educational, like for you, but there's nothing that's like, it's not a course. Let's do that.
Yeah.
There's 12 different modules, and essentially almost everything, I mean, not everything, because one-on-one coaching is special, but almost everything that I do with my one-on-one clients is in that membership. Yeah, I also have a little mini ebook course called How to Be, what is it? I can't remember me speaking.
I can link it in the show notes.
How to be a high achiever without the burnout and stress. I have a little ebook on that. That's like sort of like a journal ebook course guide that a lot of people really love. But yeah, I'm really fucking good at my job, and I wouldn't say that unless I was And you know it's true because I used to have 0% confidence in myself. And now I have all the confidence in myself because I did the work. So reach out. My program is not expensive. I will say that. I think people are always afraid of like, how much is it going to cost? Yeah. Nope, I'm well-adjustedly costly. Yeah. You can take that out or leave it in. I don't care.
Yeah, no, 100%. I'm leaving that in, 100%.
Yeah, I'm not going to steal your...
Oh, no, 100%. Like, no way. And that's so exciting about your membership too, because I know it's been something that you've been like, yeah,
so long.
Yeah. So
it was supposed to be finished before I started my master's, and then I didn't finish it in time, which is okay. I didn't care. See, past me would have been like, you didn't fucking finish it. You suck. You're a failure. But no, I was like, it's just going to take a little bit more time.
100%.
But no, I'm really, really, really excited about it. I put my blood, sweat, and tears into it, and you know what's on there, should I?
Tell me.
All the grounding moments.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm definitely going to be on it as soon as... When's it launching?
Hopefully soon.
Okay, cool. Well, when you do, I can like relink the link back into this episode.
It should be like 1 or 2 weeks. I'm having an issue. Like I have to update my computer because now everything that I use to edit isn't working.
Oh,
so I can't build the sales page.
I love that.
Is hilarious. I'm like, it's finally done, and now I can't build the sales page. But it should be up within 1, 2, 3 weeks.
Yeah, amazing.
But yeah, you can still link it. Maybe it'll even be out by the time this airs. I don't know. But they can join the wait list. So I'll send you the wait list link.
Yeah, perfect. And I'll put that in the show notes.
And it's only $30 a month.
Amazing. And that's USD dollars?
Yes.
USD. Yeah, cool. So that would be like 40, quick maths, 45 maybe, or 43 Australian. Something like that anyways. But I'll pop the waitlist link down below, and I'll pop all of Mariella's socials down below. So if you have any questions, I'm sure she's open to.
I told Shanae at the beginning of this, I love hearing myself talk. So if you have a question, I will send you back a long, drawn out voice memo with a very detailed answer to your question.
Ask I love that.
Happy to help.
I love that. And I remember when we were working together, it was like, the voice notes would get so long, and I'm like, I can't even remember what I said now.
Our voice notes would get to the point where they were like 6 minutes each, and I would have to speed them up to you know how you can do that on WhatsApp?
Yeah.
You can, make it 2x.
Speaking really fast. Oh, that's funny. Well, thank you so much for your time and for jumping on the podcast today. I really appreciate it, and I'm sure all of the listeners appreciate it too, because I feel like it's a topic that needs so much more awareness than what there is now, because it's, such a critical topic.
Thanks, love. I had so much fun. Thank you for having me. Always a pleasure with you, my darling.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate you, and thank you for tuning in to today's episode. I will see you on the next. Bye.